Hi, everyone. Mickey Hudson, and I am an SVP mySewnet educator. And today we're going to be talking about the mySewnet embroidery software for Macs. And this is specifically geared to beginners. Although if you have a Mac, it never hurts to watch because you might learn a few things. Um, I am a huge Mac person, and so I'm very excited. Been working for a long time to get more Mac only live events going on, so I'm very excited that we're finally getting this into action. We are also going to be having a software summer. So we are going to be doing some digitizing classes and we're breaking it down. So Phil Carlton will be here, Janie Lance will be here, I will be here, and then Karen and all the rest will also be here. But we're going to be doing all of the events both on a Mac side and then separately on a Windows side. So we're trying to include these Mac people. So I want to woohoo because there's more to come. And if I have my way, there'll be even more. So as we're going through this as well, if you guys have any suggestions as to a part of the software that you would like to know more about or a particular technique that you would like to know more about, please let us know because we do have the software summer coming, but we're always looking for what you guys want us to do. We know what we like, but we want to know what you want to do. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to move you to my computer, or Meredith, who's behind the scenes. Hi, Meredith. We'll move you to my computer. And so right now we're just going to start straight up with a blank screen. How do I even start is kind of where we're going to go. The first thing is, if you haven't already, if you go to mySewnet and download the software, so when you are signed in, you will come over here to my dashboard and download the software. All right. The reason we're coming here is because I know you guys know this, but one of the things that there also is the extended backgrounds and the sample folders. So I know a lot of folks who do not have this installed yet. They have just downloaded the software. And I want to talk about how easy it is to unzip, because that's usually where people get stuck the first time. So I'm going to come over here to my downloads folder, and on a Mac, they're going to be here. I'm going to show you all the different ways we can find the downloads folder. But on mine, I have it here, and I'm going to go ahead and open it. But you'll see here, I have the mySewnet samples in a zip format. And how you unzip is so easy. You just come over here and double click. And it'll unzip it and put it in a folder for you. So Mac makes this very, very easy. All right. And then from there, we'd want to move it to the mySewnet folder. So anytime you want to move a folder, there's a couple of different ways to do this. And one is to come up to the Finder, File, and make a new Finder window. So now I have two of them open, and I can move it right into the mySewnet folder. Okay. So once I have it, I can just click it and drag it and drop it in there. And I'll just go ahead and replace it. And then that I can close it and I can close it. So that is one way to go about, moving. All right. The second way I want to show you is this. If you are unfamiliar, this Finder window is how we get to all of this stuff on our computer. So this has all our applications, programs, any folders we make, etc. So this is where we will find all this stuff. And over here on this side, This is the taskbar. Okay, I'm drawing a blank here. The taskbar. And you can add and control, not taskbar, sidebar, sorry. But you can add and delete anything on here. But here you can also find your downloads. And I would do the same thing, have to open it again. For those of you that are familiar with the Mac keyboard controls, this is one of the really nice things about Mac is you don't always have to use your mouse. You can use your keyboard controls. And on your keyboard, you have a command key with a little swirl that goes all the way around. So if I touch the command key right there and touch N, the letter N, it will automatically open a new Finder window for you. So there's two ways to open a new Finder window. Either go to File and open a new window, or Command and N to open a new Finder window. All right. So I'm going to close all of these. Please ask questions as I'm going along. I like questions. If you're not understanding something, please let me know that, because I've been a Mac owner for a while. So I don't want to gloss over anything that you may need me to slow down about. So please just let me know. This is all about you guys today. Now, as you've already seen, there are multiple ways to do things on a computer, which is what confuses some people, because it's like, am I going to right click to do this? Or am I going to go to File to do this? Or am I going to go to here to do this? And the answer is often yes, because they'll all work. But what I want to do is, once you've installed your software, and as you notice on a Mac, you don't get all those little icons all over the place the way you do with Windows. What you see here on your desktop is what you physically put here. So you may have a lot of things. I personally don't like a messy desktop, so I keep everything very clean. And I keep everything in the Finder. That's where I find things. But when you install the software, number one question is, where did it go? Because especially if you're moving from Windows, you're so used to it just dropping on your desktop. Where did it go? So let's talk about that. Down here at the bottom, this is called your dock. This is everything that you want to use is going to be down here. And on the dock is where you find the Finder. And you will also find this called the Launchpad. Now, the Launchpad, this is where you will find your applications. So if I click on that, it'll open up, and here you can see there is the mySewnet. There's some of the other modules that are going on. But you also notice I have a little thing here that says mySewnet Embroidery. Because just like on your smartphone or your tablet, you can stack these. So I unstacked these for you, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and drag it. And if you put them on top of each other, they will stack. And then you can rename it and call it whatever you want. But now I have a mySewnet Embroidery. And when I open that, all of my little applications are all in one location. And that makes it very, very convenient. Okay. So once again, I've already done that. What I want to do first is I want to go to Configure. So I'm going back to my Launchpad, and I'm going to come over here to Configure. The first thing that you have to do when you get software for the first time is to sign in. You need to sign in, you need to activate. You can name your computer whatever you want. I can take it, Mickey is awesome, right? I can call this whatever I want. And what this will do is when I go back and I need to change it from the website, which I will show, I can always tell which computer I'm on. For me, I have 3 computers. I have a desktop, my laptop, and my work. So I have 3 of them. But once you're signed in, you're good to go. And then utilities is where you're familiar with these. But this is where we can change things. Reset all apps is probably the most common. Appearance, import, and export. So I do want to talk about the export very quickly because this is something that can mess people up. And if any of you have done outside SVP designs, and you've done applique or something like that, and you send it over to your mySewnet Wi-Fi enabled device, and all of a sudden everything's out of order or out of sequence, and it's like, what is happening? This is what's happening. So Combine is going to take all of your designs and combine them into one unit. It's also going to automatically color sort. So if those of you that are using, applique designs, and all of a sudden it's not doing the applique in the right order, this is the reason, is because color sort. So I tend to turn everything off except for the optimized stitch length. I do like that one on. But one of the things is, for me personally, now again, we have the options because it's up to what you like to do. So just because I've said it this way doesn't mean that's what you have to do. But the way I view it is, if I'm working in my software, if I want to combine, I will combine it myself in my software. And if I want to color sort, I will do that myself in the software. So I don't need it to do it for me. So that is my thought process of why I turn this off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close this. And when you work with configure, it wants everything closed before it makes any changes. So I usually go to configure if I want to do something before I've even opened my software. But again, the configure is not something you're going to have to open all of the time. You're usually going to do it when you first get the software and set it up. Okay. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll come over here and I will find the mySewnet embroidery. And if I were to click on that, he's going to open up. And it's going to always open up on this welcome screen. This side here is going to look different on yours than it does on mine, because this is the projects that I've been working on. And you will have the projects that you've been working on. And if you're new to the software, there will be nothing here until you start working on something. So this will always be different. Another thing that I want you to see over here is the software help. This guy is very helpful. It will always take you to the software step-by-step help owner's manual. And I will be talking about that a little bit later. And all of our modules can be found here, just like on Windows. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to blank project and click on next. Now, when we get into the hoops, this is, just like the Windows, you're going to choose the brand of whatever brand you have and whatever hoop you want selected. I'm going to choose a large hoop. Now, if you have a specialty hoop, and you can say included in my hoops. So right now this is a universal hoop, but I could say included in my hoops. And if I included in my hoops, it will list what hoops I have. So if you want to just use your own hoop collections, and of course I have many more hoops than this, but if you want to use just the hoops that you have available in your own sewing room, you can just click on the include my hoops when you've selected a hoop on this side. So if I come over here and I choose, let's say you're a Husqvarna Viking, and I have the medium metal hoop. If I include this in my hoops, it will now show up in the my hoops. See, now there's the medium. And if I have FOF, it works exactly the same way for any of them. I could say I want the petite metal hoop and include it in my hoops. and now it will show in my hoops. So that is how we get to my hoops. And just to take a breath, some of these things that I'm bringing up right now are questions that I have been asked when I'm out and about. So that's why I'm kind of talking about some of these things. But I'm just going to go ahead and choose a large hoop for now. All right. Now, on the Mac side of things, one thing about Mac is very clean. So all of this stuff is just, everything's tucked away and it's very clean, which I really like. But if you are downloading instructions for Windows, for instance, they have all this stuff up here and all this stuff everywhere. And we have to kind of know where it is versus it being all in our face. But let me show you how kind of simple it is to figure out where things are. So, here we have, before we do that, I'm going to back up a bit. So now we have our software open. And if you are very, very new and you've opened it for the first time, this side of my dock here on this left side are all the apps that I use on a regular basis. So I have them saved right to my dock. And everything over here will just close when I close it. It'll disappear in time. But if I want to keep it down here, that way I don't have to go to my Launchpad every time I want to go open my software. I can keep it in the dock. So if I right click on this, and you'll see that there's an options. So I've right clicked and I've optioned and I've clicked on keep it in the dock. So now when I close it, it will always be right here when I'm looking for it. So I can always click on it. So like here I have the mySewnet software that has the quilting and the crafting and all of that other stuff. I have him in my dock as well. So there's a lot of things on the dock. All right. And if you decide that you don't want it to be on your dock, you're going, how do I get it off my dock? It's easy. You just click on it, drag, and you see where it says remove. And now I can let go of my mouse and poof, all gone. So now to put that back, I will just go to Launchpad, bring it back, and then right click and keep in dock. Are there any questions about anything I've gone over so far? Is there anything that you would like me to repeat or show you again?
Nothing so far yet, Mickey.
Okay, we got a quiet bunch. All right. You guys are making me nervous.
All in.
Huh?
They're just taking it all in.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. So now we are in the main window of the mySewnet embroidery software. So whether you have silver, gold, platinum, or even if you're on the basic, you'll have some of these things. But this is your major kind of work area here. And so here if you're coming from Windows, there's all this stuff up here and underneath on top of all the tabs. And as I said, this is very clean. So we don't have all of the clutter. We have everything nice and clean. Actions is where we are going to insert designs. We can copy, we can paste, we can do all of this stuff. We can print, all from our actions. We can even save. So if I come in here and let's bring little cutesy here. I can even save. Oh, no, I can't save. Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I play with all the different modules and sometimes I get confused. So just bear with me. But actions is where we're going to insert, we can undo, we can do all that fun stuff, save, export, etc. Now, when it comes to, this is just general, whether you're a Windows or a Mac person, when it comes to bringing in a design, I always recommend to come here, open your software and insert. I'm going to delete this. To come in and insert your design. So I'm going to go to because what'll happen is, let me bring this in. Well, this was a terrible one because you can't see them very well. But when you bring in a design, if you insert it, it has created a new file. Now, if I just go to my Finder and just double click and open the software, that is going to, let me show you. So if I go here and mySewnet samples, what was it, embroidering stitch? Well, that's okay. We'll just do it this way. Oh, there's Dragonfly. But now if you take a look up here, this one is labeled Dragonfly. So if I make any changes to this, it is overriding my master file. So I can never come back and click on Dragonfly and get this guy again. So this is why I recommend, I'm going to close this, but this is why I recommend to come in through Actions and click on Insert, because it'll bring in a copy of it. So it's a brand new file. Now, this is especially important with Macs because Macs will autosave. So even if you start playing with it and you go, take a wing off, anything like that, it's going to autosave it. I'm just going to take a wing off just so you can see it. All right. Oh, well, that didn't really do anything.
Hey, Mickey.
Yes.
Somebody was asking, what file did you insert your design from?
All right, so let me come back. So here I've taken the wing off. So let me go back and review this again. Okay, so when it comes to the Finder, so if I click on the Finder is where I can go and find things. Now on Windows, you're going to go to your documents, but on the Finder, you're going to be on your home file here, and that's where you will find the mySewnet. Now, the mySewnet folder will look like this. I will show you how I customized it if you want to, but with Mac, all of the folders look like this unless you physically change them. So I physically changed this. And if you open up the Finder and you do not see your home, what do I do? How do I make it go? That's where we can come up to Finder. And if we go into Settings, we'll get this sidebar settings. And you can check or uncheck anything that you want or you use often. So as you can see, I have Mickey checked. So that is why it is showing here. So if you open up your Finder and you do not find your home, then that's where you go. You go up to Finder, Settings, and put a check next to your home. And then when you install the software, it's automatically going to make a folder for you here. Okay. And this earlier, I brought in the sample folders and I put the my samples. Hold on, let me get that out of the way. I made that folder. I moved the sample folder into this folder, into my mySewnet folder. So I have my designs, I can make folders, I can save folders, etc. And then the samples, there's just a whole bunch of different samples that are available to you. So no matter what level you have, from basic on all the way up to platinum, you can download all of these samples. So it's not like they're gonna make you pick and choose. You will get all of them. So the cross stitch will have cross stitch. The digitizing has more digitizing. So there's the EDO files, which are in the digitizing format. And there's picks. So both in embroidery and in digitizing, there are picks. And these are great to start playing with, like picture stitch or express design and stuff like that. So these are very clean images, and they are really nice to start with while you're working out the kinks. And then once you work out the kinks, you can start bringing in more complex pictures. But there's all kinds of stuff, including if I go to digitizing in Pix, these are, no, wait a minute. There's one that has like actual photographs. All right. As you can see, I haven't played with that in a while. Yeah, there's one that has, all right, well, I'm not going to spend any more time looking for it. But there is a pick folder that has photographs. And that is for using, so you can play with picture stitch and stuff like that. And play with things a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to get too shiny. Ooh, shiny. I'm going to get too playing with it. I'm going to start getting totally sidetracked. But this is where you will go. Finder under the home. And if you don't have home, you'll go up to Finder and just click on your settings. All right. Did that answer your question? All right.
I think so, but I'll give them a second just to make sure there's nothing else
just give
through,
them
Mickey.
a second as well. So now if I would have double-clicked on the original design and seen where it says Dragonfly XYZ up here, and I did this, it's automatically saved to the master. So if I X out of this, it's saved. If I catch myself, I can undo, and I can, when it comes to software in general or computers in general, there's lots of ways to do different things. So I can come up here to file, or excuse me, edit and undo. So that's one way you can undo. And the mySewnet embroidery software has unlimited undos. So I can go all the way back to not even putting it. But the thing is you have to catch yourself. So if you've closed the program, then it's now your new reality. So going up here to edit and undo. But if you notice over here, whenever you see these little commands, these are your keyboard commands. So if I were to hit the Command and Z, as you can see, it did an undo, and Command and Z, it will undo. I can go back and forth, etc. I have unlimited undos and I have unlimited redos if I want to just play back and forth. All right. I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm actually going to change him to a dark color just so he'll stand out a little bit there. All right. Now, what I also want to do is kind of talk about the help menu. If I come up into the help menu, which you can find up here on the menu bar. So this is the menu bar. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. This is the menu bar, and this is the ribbon bar. Yeah, so our toolbar. So this is the menu bar, and this is the toolbar on the actual software itself. So if you reading instructions and it says the menu bar, this is what they're talking about. Now, one thing I love about the help is if I click on the help and go to mySewnet embroidery help, there's also those keyboard shortcuts. But if I go to the help, it pretty much takes me to where I am. So if I'm in the embroidery, it will open up embroidery. If I am in digitizing, it will open up digitizing help. And if I'm in Stitch Editor, it will open up Stitch Editor help, etc. So it's a great reference just to go get the help right away. All right.
Hey, Mickey.
So, yeah.
We have a couple questions. Somebody asked, will mySewnet be coming out with their own version of VX files to import font with single click?
I have not heard anything about that, but for the VX files, I can definitely bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay. And then somebody else asked, if I do save as after I open the original sample design, will it still overwrite the original sample design?
No, so let's talk about that. So if I want to save this, there's a couple ways I can save. I can touch the Command and S, and that will automatically open my save window. And it says, this is also important because once I've clicked the save, where do you want to put it? And this can be scary for new Mac owners. It was for me, was going, I need my menus of things to know where I want to go, because this is going to just open up it to the last place I saved at. So it's going to assume this is where you want to save it. And if you don't, you can click on this little drop down arrow here, and that will open up your Finder. So I can say, all right, this is where I can put it anywhere I want. And then I can save it. All right. Now, if you're going to save, you can also go to File, and this is where you're going to get saved. So you can touch Command S will save, and then we've got Command S and save. But there's no save as here. Now, this is an old holdover from Mac when they first started doing like Microsoft Word and stuff like that. So in order to get to the save as from here, you need to hold the Shift key. Oops, it's the Options key. And so when you touch the Options key, you get save as. And if you see these over here, so this one is saying to hold the Option key, hold the Shift key, and touch Command S. So there's a few more keys to play with, but if you find yourself using something a lot, like I use save all the time, so Command S is like, it's just muscle memory at this point. I never come up here for Command to save. And I'm starting to get into the habit of touching all four buttons to do the save as. So every as you're working with it, once you start getting comfortable with the keyboard command, try a new one. Start adding that to your collection, and pretty soon you'll be playing on the keyboard more than the mouse, because it is very convenient. But yes, save will save and save it. So can you switch to me for a minute? All right, okay. So save will save it. And if I make changes to it, and I make changes to my design and I save it, now it's going to save this. And if I come and I make more changes to it and I save it, now it's going to save this. And that's it. Whereas if I, make a change and I save it, and then my next change I save as, now I have two. I have this one and I have this one. And if I make another change to it, sorry, I'm looking in a mirror. If I make another change to it and save as, now I have this one, I have this one, and I have this one. So save as will create a new copy, and save will just keep piling it on the old stuff. All right, flip it back. Thank you. I'm used to being able to do this myself, so it's a little weird. All right. So, but like even, sometimes I'm doing something here and I just want to get rid of the grid and I can't, whoops, not that. That opens a new window. So Command and a comma, I can change my grid. So I can say I want the grid to be about an inch apart. And then if I Command and period, I can turn my grid off. Command period again, I can turn my grid on. So the little keyboard controls do come in really nicely once you start getting used to them. But if you're new to this, don't overwhelm yourself. Start with one thing, even if it's just Command S to save. Once you get comfortable that you're automatically doing that, then take a look the next time and go, okay, I use this a lot. Let me start playing with this keyboard command. All right. Any other questions? How are we doing on time?
Nothing else so far right now, Mickey.
All right. So another thing too that I've gotten asked a lot about is once I've gotten this and I've saved it. So let me just, I just touched Command S as you saw. It's just so automatic. And I'll call this Dragon Live and I'll just save it. All right. And now I want to put it on a USB. Now I'm pretty spoiled, and I know quite a few of us are, that we have a mySewnet Wi-Fi enabled device. So when I am signed into mySewnet Wi-Fi enabled device, I can come on over here to the send feature, which is here, and I can send it. So when I send it, I can send it express to a device. If I had one of my sewing machines on, they would be listed. I only have my studio and this computer on at the moment. But all of my mySewnet Wi-Fi enabled devices are named. So when they are all up and running, I have Edna, Dexter, Fancy Pants, and so I know exactly which machine I'm sending it to, and it makes it really, really convenient. This one, to send to the mySewnet cloud, will send it to the cloud. So when you turn on your sewing machine later, if you have a mySewnet enabled device, when you turn your machine on later and you go to your file manager there, the mySewnet file manager, it'll be there. So you can either send it directly, I'm ready to sew it now, or you can send it going, I'm going to take a look at it later. But that's what the difference is between these two. All right. And then also I get asked too about if I need to send it to a USB stick, how do I do that? Well, let me show you. Let me unplug this. So I have a USB stick here. I'm going to open my Finder. And this is what we're looking for is our locations. And if I were to plug in a USB stick, and you're going to just plug it right into your machine there, or your computer there. All right, this one might not be a good one. I do not use USB sticks, anymore. So I often can't find one that works. And this one's not going to work. All right, so the USB stick will pop up here. Not only you'll be able to see it here, but you will also be able to see it here. And then you can just go and say, I want to put, let me see if I have another one within reach. Okay, little stinker, will you work here? Oh, okay. Well, I am sorry. It was working yesterday. Yeah, so, but this unfortunately is the problem with the USB sticks and why they are starting to go out and Wi-Fi is becoming more and more popular. All right, so it's just not going to plug in. But do we at least understand that it will pop up here and it'll be called whatever your stick is called. So you can rename it and then you can just drag. So I could click and drag and drop it right into the USB stick. Right? Yeah, that's not going to let me do it because that's not what that is. It's not storage. But it's that easy. A lot of people really work too hard overthinking it. So we just plug it in, open it up, and just drag your design over. And then you want to just, when this is also, you can also My USB stick is bumming me out. I'm getting tongue-tied. But from here, when your USB stick, you can also just right-click, and an option to eject will be here. So once you've put your designs on there, you can right-click and eject, and then as soon as it goes away from here, it's safe to remove from your computer. All right. So all of our commands here in the software itself are going to be similar to, especially if you're coming from Windows. Our zooms are up here instead of down below. And so we can zoom in, we can zoom out. We have the zoom to rectangle. So if I click on that, I can zoom to rectangle, zoom to fit, and then there's the slider. There's my select. I can select with a box. I can select with a drag lasso. I can point select. This is my favorite when I have to do editing, because I can get, in the nooks and crannies if I need to. I can adjust if I'm crossing over onto another design, etc. But when I do this or the lasso, do you see how there's that cursor on, there's that circle on my cursor there? You need to right click to release that. So I'm going to finish, and then it'll box select. I got select all. I've got this is group. So if I had two of them, I can select them and group them. I can ungroup them, etc. That's what all this stuff does. I can change my hoop size, resize. All of this is up here. Now, depending on the size of your screen, like for instance, I have my resolution set very, very high for y'all, and I don't have all of my commands here. I can go ahead and click on these little double arrows here, and it'll give me whatever I can't see. So I have, there's group, ungroup, view mode, preview, etc. So this is the select all, and this is the select none. I'm used to looking at my whole window, so let me see if I can show you what group, why I got it. So there's group and ungroup, but that's why I did that, because I was expecting to see everything. But if you have the full screen, you can see everything. If not, you will get those little arrows. So don't panic. Now you can, if I right click, I can change this to icons only, or icon and text, or I can right click and customize it. If you by some reason end up and things are gone, here are my panels here. So if you all of a sudden find everything's missing, don't panic. There are two ways. You can either come here and look for panels, or you can go back to configure and reset the modules, because that'll also reset you. Now, last but not least, we're getting into some important stuff here. So if you are using a published project for Windows, they're going to talk about the Create tab, the View tab, the this, the that, the other. One thing to keep in mind is Windows works across the top, where Mac, we tend to work down. So these are our tabs. This is called the Design tab. It's known as the Home tab if you're using Windows instructions. But everything else is the same. We got the Create tab, we have Encore, etc. So now if I want to select something, I can. But as we're working on things, it will tell you to go across to, XYZ. And for us, we're just going to go down to the XYZ. So all the stuff there is the same. It's just in a different location. So if you just keep in mind, Mac works down and Windows works across. But yes, so all of the commands are going to be all down here. So anything I want to change is going to be all down here. There are some things that are easier in Mac. There's like one thing I found that's easier in Windows, and a whole bunch of stuff that is easier in Mac. And this is one of them. So when it comes to the fonts, if I click on fonts, I can just search. I can search right here quickly for a name of the type of font, or I can quickly search for size. And in Windows, they have to go through quick fonts to their file, quick font file, and scroll down and type it in. So this is very convenient. I love being able to just see things at a glance with the Mac, and it works for pretty much all of them. So if I go to Applique, everything is just so easy to see in Mac. I'm just a Mac snob. I absolutely love it. But just remember, Mac works down. So if you're looking at instructions and it asks for you to change something, we're just going to come down. We're going to find it all down at the bottom. All right. All right. Are there any other questions or anything else that you would like me to cover?
Yes, a couple questions, Mickey. Is the only way to get to the area to change the grid with the grid size with the keyboard command?
No. So here I can come up here. So this is the menu bar up at the top. And if I click on mySewnet Embroidery, and if I go to settings, I can also change it here. So this is where I can change it. If I want to change anything on the actual hardware, what I call the hardware of the software, then I have to go into the configure. But the settings are quick changes here. So if I wanted to go to a 1/4 of an inch grid, I could do that. That just makes me crazy though, with the big hoops. So 25 is going to be around an inch. And so that's kind of what I use there. So yes, there's just more than one way. So I like the command, command N, just because I've just started playing with it and I'm, really liking it. But for years, I would come here. So, all right. Any other questions?
Yes. Is there a printout list of all of the keyboard commands?
So it's interesting. So if you come up here to help, and there's keyboard shortcuts, and it will open up. Just give it a minute to. My window is so big. So keyboard, there is a shortcuts menu here. So it shows you what all those little icons mean. And then when you come up to the software, you can see those icons. Like for instance, this shift key, it's an up arrow. So I was forever trying to use my up arrow on my keyboard, and it's just, shift key. But this is what this code is for, is to show you how to read all these little commands here. Does that help that?
Yes, thank you. Can you, what's the difference between zoom to hoop versus rectangle?
All right. So the zoom is, you've got the negative and the positive, and you're going to zoom in or zoom out. The zoom to rectangle, if I click on that, I just want to zoom in on these two wings. So if I zoom to rectangle, I can zoom right on those little wings, and I'm going to zoom into that area. When I come zoom to fit, that's going to bump it back out to the entire hoop. So when I click on that, I can see the whole hoop area. And then there's the slider. So I can slide in or out. Now, when I slide in, or whether I zoom to rectangle, I don't know if you saw these little bars. I'm going to do it again, and I want you to look right over here, and you're going to see these little bars on the side. Because even if I'm zoomed in, I can still use my mouse and roll up and down. So if I'm zoomed in and I'm working here, now I need to come and take a look at this guy zoomed in, I can do that as well. I don't have to zoom out every time. But zoom to rectangle will help you zoom into a specific spot, and then zoom to fit will back out and put the whole thing in your view. Okay?
And one more. Can you go over the location of all the functions in the digitizing module?
We are going to do that coming up. So we're going to be, I will be doing digitizing. We're kind of breaking up the digitizing. So I'm going to be doing digitizing quick create. So I will go over all of that. That's coming up fairly soon. And then Phil Carlton, who we miss so much, will be doing the digitizing point create and freehand create, which is what I wanted to do. But when he wanted to do it, I was like, yay. So we are going to be focusing more on the digitizing. This was just kind of an overview quickly for people who are just starting with Mac or have been a little confused with Mac, because we'll be getting a lot of feedback about it. And before we started the summer software, I wanted to answer any questions I could, so you guys are all ready for that. So you know where to find things and how to open things and how to save things. That's really what we were going for. So we're going to be breaking things down as we go. But if you want quickly, I can show you very quickly. So if I open digitizing, so again, we have the assistant for the express design. We have our actions. I have the ability to send. These are our tabs here. So there's quick create. So quick create is kind of a point and shoot. So if I had an image there, I could actually quick create and click on the color and it'll fill it in fastly. Freehand create will allow me to draw. I can't draw anything, but there we go. Beautiful. And then point create will allow me to point, kind of like point select does. And then again, I have to right click to tell it I'm done. And so that's quickly, like I said, we're going to go into what all of these things are. Phil Carlton will be playing with the freehand and the point create. So they have these options. And then quick create has different options. So we'll be playing with that as well. And there's all this good stuff. So we'll get into all of that coming up. I just love it. I love it so much. But we have quite a bit coming up. So once again, if there's, after you take the digitizing, if you watch the digitizing portions and you're still not getting answers, let us know, because we love feedback and we would love to know, well, this is what I'm working on and I'm having trouble, or this is what I plan to do and I would like a heads up on it before I start, or just anything like that. Because believe me, we know what we like to do. But it's not always what you guys want to do. So we'd much rather hear from you about what you guys want. So yeah, let us know. But yeah, like I said, we have a whole bunch of stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Watch this channel. There any other questions?
Not any other have come through yet.
Okay, so as usual, I will be monitoring the comment section for a few weeks from, afterwards. I just pop in and see if there's any new comments. So if you're watching this as a recorded and you have a question, don't be afraid to ask, because I will be around to answer questions. If not, our behind the scenes crew will be around. And even if I pass the couple of weeks where I'm constantly watching it, if there's a question that can't be answered, they will definitely get in contact with me and go tap me on the shoulder. So no matter when you ask questions, we will be available to answer those questions. So if you sign off and you think of something going, she didn't mention this, put it in there. I can take a screenshot. I can help you in any way I possibly can, because I love the software and I want everybody to love it as much as I do, because it's fabulous. So yeah, I'm really excited about the Mac summer camp that we're doing. I don't know if we're calling it a summer camp, but the summer of software. And
we're calling
doing
it Summer Digitizing Camp.
Mac only, which you guys have been asking for years. So I have really been pushing for that for a long time. So you're welcome. I know I'm not the only one, but I was pushing hard for y'all. So hopefully we will get more stuff on the studio, and we're talking about all kinds of stuff. So I really do hope that this is going to help my Mac owners because I love Mac, and I think if you just play with it a little bit more, you're going to love it as much as I do. All right. So if there is no more, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and say goodbye. And again, we'll be watching comments. So if you think of anything, please let me know. All right.
We had a few come through here real quick, Mickey.
Okay.
And this is one we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks. Somebody asked for digitizing help on how to do changes to pre-existing files would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
She's working on a logo for her daughter's business and is trying to rework it. And so we will be doing creating logos one, and Janie's going to be doing that one. So, she's
we're doing a logos specific. So yes.
Yes. And then how do you get the bar to open above the design bar?
How do you get the bar to open above the design bar? Can we clarify that a little bit?
Yes, I'll see if they will.
So when I first got into computers a bazillion years ago, back in the 90s, I had a good friend who was very good at computers. And one day he comes knocking on my door and he hands me this book. Boom. He goes, "Do not call me again and tell me the doohickey thing is flashing. You've got to learn the names of things." And so that's what the bar on the thing. I'm like, I need to know what it's called. Yeah, I understand his frustration now because I would do that. I'm like, I don't know, my thing is flashing. What thing? I don't know the doohickey thing. At the bottom of the screen.
Well, I'm going to give them a second because this was a YouTube question, and I know we can't necessarily go back and reply to those once we finish
once we're
live.
done.
So I'm going to give them another second really quick. Oh,
so
here we go. Yeah, you see that?
The bar. I don't know what bar.
Under the main bar on the right-hand side.
Under the main bar is this the super designs? Is this what you were talking about? So there's the super designs, and in the super designs, we have the category, and we can look at all of them, or we can look for a specific category. But this has a bar above the design. And then the other one was the fonts. And so this is found in the letters tab, our fonts. But all of these are all the same. And again, if you hover on anything, it will pop up and tell you what it is.
And she said yes, so that must be hopefully what you're showing.
So the super designs. So the super designs is where we can find all these different categories. And there's different, like if I scroll down too, you'll see that even though it's category celebration, it's not always limited to just that one menu. If you scroll, there's often quite a bit. There's a lot of super designs, and super designs are awesome. They are.
One other person asked, how soon will the webinars be scheduled? And so I was just going to read off the dates for them really quick.
Okay, so get a pen and paper. Here we go. We're going to, the Summer of Software.
So I'm just going to read off the Mac ones, since I'm assuming this is mainly Mac people we have here today. So the first one is going to be with Mickey on June 24th, and she's going to be doing Quick Create. The next one is going to be,
Digitizing Quick Create.
Yes, digitizing Quick Create. And then the next one is going to be with Phil Carlton on July 1st, and that's Point Create, including the Bezier mode. And then the next one is going to be July 15th with Janie Lance, and she's going to be doing the creating logos. And then the last one is going to be July 22nd, and that's going to be with Wendy, and she's going to be doing layering appliques. So again, digitizing and creating those. So the person that was asking about the bar, Mickey, she said, I don't have the bar with the fonts. Should she?
Oh, okay. So let me go back to the fonts. So when I see what she's talking about. So when we got the fonts, it's showing me this one font. But if I click on this one font right here, I get this window open and it gives me all of my fonts. and up at the top is where I can search. So I personally like Rollo. So I use Rollo font a lot. So I know I search for Rollo. Or if I'm just looking, I'm working on a little pillow. And so I can say I want to find stitches that are 25 millimeter, which is an inch. And I'm going 5 millimeters, give or take. And as you can see, it'll list everything that's going to fit into that criteria. But that is how I got to that. Is I'm in my letters tab, which is going to open my fonts. And if I just click on the font itself, it opens the window, and there's my search bar up at the top. So is that what it was? I'll hang out here all day because I'm fine.
Hopefully,
Is that what it was?
I'll give her just a second because I had somebody actually ask about the Windows lessons too. So let me go ahead and read off the Windows dates for the Summer Digitizing Camp as well. So the first one's going to be June 10th with Mickey as well, and she's going to be doing Quick Create. And this is, again, this that I'm listing off now is for the Windows version. And then the next one's going to be June 17th with Phil Carlton, and he's going to be doing the Point Create, including the Bezier mode. And then the next one is going to be July 8th with Janie Lance, creating logos. And then the last one is going to be with Karen Charles, and it's going to be August 5th, and that's the layering applique version. So if you guys have any questions on that or anything, we will have those posted in the next month on the Facebook pages, and they'll all be listed there for you. And if you click that you are interested in it or that you're going to that, and I do with air quotes, you'll get reminders about it as well as email reminders from our marketing team. So that just gives you that extra reminder so that you don't forget about it. But and it looks like that did answer her question.
And if you are unfamiliar with Phil Carlton or Janie Lance, Phil Carlton and Janie Lance are who the gurus go to. They are the longtime software super elite. But I mean, I know software really well. But when I get in a pickle, they're the ones I talk to because they're guaranteed they can get me out of it. Or they may know of an easier way than what I'm doing. I do that as well, going, is there an easier way? They know the easier way. So they are the gurus to the gurus. And so I would definitely, if you can only make one, hit one of theirs. Of course, you want to hit all of them because we're all fabulous. But yeah, so we're very excited that Janie and Phil are doing some of this because they're our heroes. So we're really, really excited.
I was going to say, Mickey, everybody loves you doing software, but when they see Phil and Janie do them, like it's a whole nother level. Like you're amazing, Mickey, but they just know it better than the back of their hand. So it's going to be really good.
They know it. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's all they do. So they teach the software and that's all they do. That's their job. And so I play with the software, I teach the software, but I have other parts of my job. So I can't live on it 24/7, but I would if I could.
Yes.
I love the software.
Just a reminder that these are recorded. You can find these on Facebook and YouTube following the live. Facebook is going to be taking them down after 30 days, but they are always available on YouTube under the mySewnet page. So even if you are missing this one or coming in late or a future one of those summer digitizing camps, if you can't make it that day, feel free to just go straight over to our YouTube channel and they immediately pop up. There's not any delay or wait or anything. So they're always available there as well. So
okay.
I think that's it, Mickey. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. And again, I will be watching the comments and I will be talking to you all very soon. And bye.